Sameach, that means happy holiday, Chag Sameach. And everybody should have a Haggadah, which means the telling. That's the book that's going to tell us the order. Max, give me a hint. Okay, so today we are celebrating not just Pesach, there's another chuch in there. That's why you're not allowed to eat yet, because we have all these words with chuching you have to say, and you don't want to spray. We forgot to tell you could have worn your mask for the chuching parts, but no. One of the wonderful things about Passover is that some of the things that we do, we've been doing for hundreds, even thousands of years. And we will do those things. But one of the things about Passover this year, or here and with me, is that we're going to do new things as well. So because we're also Shabbat, we're celebrating Shabbat, some of the things we're going to do are going to be things that we need to do on Shabbat, that we don't necessarily always do during a Seder. I have a couple challenges for you, though. So, and if more people are coming to your table, then you're going to have to ask them to participate too. Figure out, and this is between you, some of you are family groups and some of you are not, so you figure out the nice way of doing this. Who's the youngest person at your table? Figure out who's the youngest one at your table. Or make it up as you go along. You could pretend to be the youngest. I don't care. If we pass a microphone to your table, then figure out if only one of you is brave enough to speak, who's going to be the one who's brave enough to speak. So think about that. And I have a challenge, an extra challenge this year. Every year I try to do something unique. This year the challenge, what are special numbers that are important in the Seder? What are special numbers? What? 3. 3 is a special number in the Seder. Name something that's 3 in the Seder. The patriarchs. Yeah, but that's all the time. That's all the time. 3. Give me a 3. Something. Who knows 3? Who knows a number? A number that's important for a Seder. What's a number that's important in the Seder? Did you say? 4, I think so. So the number 4 is important in the Seder. We're going to have 4 cups of wine. If you're smart and you wait and you do it on time, 4 cups of wine. We're going to have 4 questions, We're going to have 4 children asking questions. We're going to have 4 different kinds of kids. 4 is a number that's important in a Seder. This year, 4, I want you to think about this. If I ask you a question, like a challenge question, I want this year to be a new kind of year. I want you to think about it in a way you've never thought of before. There are things going on in our world right now that have never happened before, and it's really important for us to think about them. It's important for us. It's supposed to be a holiday of freedom. We're supposed to think about ways that we can make the world a better place. We're supposed to remember what it was like to be slaves and leave slavery. We're supposed to have left our chametz behind, which are unleavened things, and it's not just about the crumbs in the sofa. It's also the things that we need to deal with and get rid of. And so this is your challenge for 4 today. So we're going to be thinking in terms of 4-word answers. So if I ask you, what is it that you think is a significant thing for you this year? In 4 words, tell me. Something like Ukraine, stop, Russia, fighting. That's 4 answers, 4 words. Okay, so I want you to think about that. I want you to come up with 4-word answers, okay? And I want you to join me in what we're reading if you'd like. I can pass around a microphone if anybody wants to talk, because we're online, and anybody who's watching us online cannot hear you unless you have a microphone in front of you. It's not because people here may not be able to hear you. It's because because we're being joined by hundreds, 3, how many, Max? 6 people. See, 6 people. That's a whole table's worth. We have 6 people who can't hear you unless you have a microphone. So, yeah, exactly. We needed 4. 6 people are watching. Okay. So let's begin with the first page. On the very, very cover, it shows you that there are different kinds of symbols in your book, so you know what's going on. So there's going to be fancy Hebrew letters, and that's going to tell you that where we are in the Seder. There's going to be 3 matzahs, and it's going to be things you have to do, and some of it may be things like lifting up the cup, or putting down the cup, or drinking the cup, or not drinking the cup. I have a question. Jerry, can I have you over here for a sec? Can I have you over here for a sec? I need you over here. Private question. If you're children, I have lots of things for kids to do over here. Talk to Ivy. I have songs to sing and things to think about. And I left my thing. It's okay, I got it. We have, where's my box? Where's my things, my box things? Max, where's the... I got it. I hid it, and now I have it. I got it. Thank you. Can I get a bowl? Oh, that's fine. Perfect. Can I get a bowl that I could be using my water for? That needs water and bowl. Thank you. Water in there and a bowl next to it. Thank you. I know. So if you're kids here, I have stuff for kids to do. Page 2. Let's read. This Haggadah, or Haggadah. Who says Haggadah? Raise your hand if you say Haggadah. All right, so I want to do something different. It's Shabbat, so you have to raise your hand in a different way. Today, if you're going to raise your hand, I want you to do jazzy hands. Okay? Jazzy hands. All right. So how many people say Haggadah? How many people say Haggadah? Okay, I like it. Some people are both. All right, so this Haggadah has been used for many years at Bnei Zion. Each year, there are modifications to it. Sometimes there are corrections, but there are also things that apply to this specific year. Thank you. That's perfect. And an empty bowl. Big one. Some at our table observe this holiday every year. How many people have done this before? Let's see some jazzy hands. How many people have done this before here at Bnei Zion? Lots of jazzy hands. I like that. How many people have never done a Seder before? Jazzy hands. Wow, I like that. Nice. That's not true. Yeah, but they have their own jazzy hands. Come on. Some of us are Jewish. Do I want to do jazzy hands Jewish? Because it's not fair, because if you're not Jewish, we call you, at least for tonight, what do we say? Jewish. You get to be Jewish for tonight, because you're doing our Seder. Passover is enjoyed by people of various faiths because freedom is at the core of each of our stories, If you like it, jazzy hands, let me hear. We are deeply grateful to those who provide love and support to their Jewish partners, families, and friends. We offer special thanks to those who are raising their sons and daughters with Jewish identity, and everyone who is living a Jewish life or supporting Jewish ways to ensure the survival of Judaism. When we experience Passover, it reminds us of many things. Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. Forward. Let me hear you read this with me, please. Read with me, please. We were slaves. We were freed. Plagues end. I want you to hear that one. Plagues end. Freedom means being together. When we were freed, we gained new responsibilities. Our history is our story. The story influences our choices now. When we share the story, we learn from each other. When we tell our story to our children, it can strengthen us and their future. Tonight, we relive our story and share memories through the senses, tasting, smelling, touching, seeing, and hearing the memories of freedom. We do not know what will be tomorrow, but we remember that we have been through a lot, and we can continue to hope. We are grateful for everyone who helped to cook, set up, or coordinate the Seder. We are grateful to everyone who is attending the Seder, in person or online. Take a look at page 3. That's the order of the Seder. We have to get through every single one of them. If you leave after 11, shame on you. The back page is a bingo page. There was one year we handed out bingo pages. Everybody got a different one. I made enough for everybody. I think Adam was the only one who did the bingo, though. So he wins. I got a prize for him every year because he wins. So every year for Passover, whether it's Shabbat or not, we have to light candles to begin the holiday. You can do it 18 minutes before sundown or earlier than that. We are earlier than that today. So now we're going to tell our first pun of the day. We're going to say, please rise, get it, for the blessings of the candles and the first cup of wine. There are two blessings we say for lighting the holiday and Shabbat candles. Challenge, can you sing the Hebrew blessings with your eyes closed? This is what we're going to say. The Hebrew blessings, some of you know them with your eyes closed. We're going to sing about Shabbat, V'shel Yom Tov, and then we're going to sing a Shehechianu. Somebody I know can do it with his eyes closed. No? I got it. You could do it. You could do it anytime you want. I love hearing your voice. All right, ready? So we lit the candles already. We're going to say Shabbat V'shel Yom Tov is the first one, and then Shechianu, Recuperation, Recuperation, Recuperation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. And I'm going to open my eyes for this, and then we're going to say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Here it comes. Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Jazzy hands. Loves English. Okay, let's do it in English then. Praised are you, our eternal God, ruler of the universe, who makes our lives holy with your commandments and commands us to kindle these Shabbat and holy day lights. Praised are you, our eternal God, ruler of the universe, who has given us life, kept us alive, and permitted us to reach this special time. So I hope you've got your first cup poured. We're supposed to have 4 cups of wine. And the things in the carafe is grape juice. For those of you who are Italian Jews and grape Jews, and that's another joke. So there are 4 cups of wine, and each of those cups tell us something important about the way God said that God will redeem us. This one is the cup of our freedom, and it's a really long blessing. So if it's hard for you to stand up for a long time, then you don't have to stay standing the whole time. But we read together on the top of page 5. We drink the first of 4 cups to recall God's promise of redemption. I am Adonai, and I will redeem you from the burdens of the Egyptians. No offense, Egyptians. So we're going to do this part in English, in the italics in the middle of page 5. You're welcome to read with me. There was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. The heavens and the earth and all they contain were completed. On the 7th day, God rested from all the work God had done and everything that God had made. And God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, because it was the day on which God rested from all of God's creation. Baruch, we don't drink it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Don't drink it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romemanu mikol lashon v'kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu behava shabbatot lemenucha u'moadim lesimcha chagim uzmanim lesason et yom hashabbat hazeh v'et yom chag hamatzot hazeh zman cherutenu behava mikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, there's a good word for you to know. That's Egypt. So we're glad we're gone. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat u'moadei kodshecha be'ava u'v'ratzon b'simcha u'v'sason hinichaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat v'Yisrael v'hazmanim. In English, because I didn't hear everybody singing with me. Praised are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has chosen us from among the peoples, exalting us by hallowing us with mitzvot. In your love, Adonai our God, you have given us Shabbatot of rest, feasts of gladness, and seasons of joy. This Shabbat day and this festival of Pesach, season of our freedom, a sacred occasion, a remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt. For you have chosen us from all the peoples and consecrated us to your service and given us Shabbat, a sign of love and favor, and the festivals, a time of gladness and joy. Praised are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat, Israel, and the festivals. Drink the first cup of wine. L'chaim. You can chug it. You're allowed to drink the whole thing. Are you thirsty? Chug, chug, chug. You may be seated. These chairs make noise, but I'm going to keep reading or we'll be here forever. According to ancient custom, we wash our hands, but no blessing is said. Washing our hands is a way of showing that we hope to purify our hearts and not just our hands. It's also a way of feeling clean and ready to take part in the Seder. We've created a new tradition. Let me remind you, we've been doing this tradition since before we knew what a pandemic was. We started this tradition about a year or two before, because we're sitting here and we're serving family style, and not everybody's always related to each other. So instead of passing around a cup with water, we're going to pass around hand sanitizer. There's some on your table. We plan to pass over many plates and foods to each other, but we do not want to be plagued with illness. Please clean your hands. I've got a cup with this, and I've got some sanitizer, and thank you for letting me have all of these things. Is this cool? If you've never seen one of these before, there's a special kind of a hand washing thing. It's got two handles on it, so you could use it. And sanitizer too. And we didn't do any blessing for that one this time, but we do get to eat right afterwards because we just washed. So we're in the karpas, dipping the greens. We taste the greens of spring when we dip into salt water, the remembrance of the tears shed by our ancestors enslaved in Egypt. Can you think of another symbolic reason for dipping at this point in the Seder in 4 words? Can you think of another reason for dipping? Anybody think of another reason for dipping? We're dipping. So let me show you. You've got 2 different kinds of lettuce on your plate. The parsley is the one that's really tall like this. That looks like trees. The other one is not. It's chazeret. And the other one is actually a bitter herb. So this one is supposed to remind us of spring. Take a sprig of parsley. Do not eat it yet. I didn't hear any four-word excuses about why we're dipping. What? Remember people we love. That's a good one. And how does this, you dip? No, I'll ask. I'm sorry. It's true. All right. So, and because the tears, we have tears. So everyone take some greens and dip them in the salt water, which is in a cute little cup like this on your table. I hope nobody drank it. That would be very sad. You'll really cry then. This is salt water. It's supposed to remind us of our tears. Before we can eat the greens, we have to say the blessing. So the blessing, we're going to say it in English first. Praised are you, our eternal God, ruler of the universe, creates the fruit of the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri ha'adama. Remember to lean to the left if you can. Slaves couldn't relax while they ate. As we eat comfortably, we remember that we are free. Take some, eat some. Wow, tastes like springtime and tears. How cool. Special eating treat. You can now eat the egg that's on your plate. Don't eat the one on the Seder plate. You can eat the egg because it's also a symbol of spring. Don't eat any matzah yet. Don't eat the other things yet, please. In Egypt, we were poor. We had to divide our portions. Now we remember to share our portions with those who are hungry or poor. So I'm going to show you my plate with matzah. It's over here. Everybody point to your matzah plate. I'm going to take the middle matzah. I'm going to hide half of it as afikomen, and you're going to have to find it afterwards. Why do we hide part of the matzah? We put aside for later. Nope, too many. We put aside later. In a sense, it's like investing in our future. We hope that the things we set aside as special, which doesn't mean just set it aside, are things our children will want to pursue. Why do we break our matzah before we even get to tell about it? The rabbis teach. Israel was redeemed from, this is your part, read it. Israel was redeemed from Egypt because of these merits. Our ancestors did not change their names. Our ancestors did not change their language. We set aside the broken portion of the matzah to remember that what seems lost may be recovered, and what seems broken may be a blessing. Now you have to lift the plate with your matzah. I have these really cool matzah. We've never eaten them. They're like years old, but it's got pictures on it. Isn't that cool? But I also have this matzah. I'm going to lift this matzah. Lift the matzah. Read with me, please. This is matzah, the bread of affliction, the bread of poverty and sorrow that our ancestors ate when they were slaves in the land of Egypt. Matzah is special bread made without leaven or yeast, so it cannot rise. We eat matzah because it reminds us that we had to escape from Egypt so quickly that there was no time for bread to rise. It also reminds us of the poor food we ate when we were slaves. Let anyone who is hungry come and eat. Let anyone who is a stranger, anyone in need or want, share with us the hope of Passover. For we know how it feels to be a stranger in a strange land. Now we feel as if we are still like slaves. Next year we hope to be truly free, and you put down your matzah. We learn how to feel compassion for the stranger, and we know how to feel compassion for those who are ill or in pain. This is another part of the Seder that we don't usually do, but because it's Friday night, we have to say something. Because one of our most important prayers that we say on Friday night is a prayer for healing and recuperation. So if you have someone for whom you would like us to be saying a prayer about healing or recuperation, I invite you to call out that name. Call out. I'm going to say for us too, we're still healing. All of us are healing for a variety of reasons. So we say together, merciful God, we pray to you for the recovery of all who are facing illness or pain. We join our prayers with all who love them. Grant them renewed strength and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you place within us all. Grant them a refuah shalema, a complete recovery. May healing come speedily. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Guide the hearts and hands of those who are entrusted with their care. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh Cholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing and truth, health. This is another part of the service that we're going to say today because we are not doing a Shabbat service. If you have names of people whose yortzites fall this week, I invite you to call them out. If the anniversary of death was this week, Arnie Lawrence. If someone died within the past 30 days, or a parent in the past year. For all these names, if it is your custom to do so, our tradition is that we stand for the Kaddish, all of us do, because we know that there are many people in this world who died and have no one left to say Kaddish for them. We say, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. Please pour the second cup of wine. We don't drink it yet. While you're pouring, I want you to point at the person you designated as the youngest person at your table. Who's the youngest person at your table? It's not you anymore. It's you. You get to be the youngest person. Who's the youngest one at your table? Yeah. I point at that person, youngest person at the table, because you get to do page 10. Help us out with this. Youngest person at the table gets to do this. Now, my sons always point out the fact that it says it's 4 questions, 4 kashas, but it's really 1 question and 4 statements. All right? C'est vrai? All right. So I need the help of everyone who is the youngest person at your table. Please help me. Please help me sing these 4 questions. If you don't know what they mean, the English is right there. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot cha-cha-cha mikol haleilot cha-cha-cha shebachol haleilot anu ochlin chametz umatzah chametz umatzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah. I was joking. We need to say what it is. Why is tonight different from all other nights? On all other nights, we could eat matzah, we could eat chametz. Tonight, all we can eat is matzah. How come? On all other nights, we could eat any kind of vegetable. And tonight, we could eat lots of vegetables, but we have to eat a bitter vegetable. What's up with that? On all other nights, and remember, this is something we've been doing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. On all other nights, we don't dip our foods. We don't mix our foods. Have you ever heard of somebody who never dipped their foods before? Like, ever hear French fries? Come on, rabbis, what's up with that? But tonight, we have to dip twice. You already did one where you did parsley into salt water. There's one more coming up. Tonight, we have to dip twice. On all other nights, we can either sit up straight or recline. Did you hear that, moms, dads? You're allowed to recline all other nights. What? I don't know about that. Tonight, we have to recline, ideally to the left. At our house, we have a pillow that we use to recline to the left. So we have to recline to the left. Why do we recline? That seems disrespectful. We're all dressed up. It's a fancy dinner. Why do we recline? Good question. So we're going to keep singing from the second question. We're going to say that we eat all kinds of vegetables. Shebachol halelot anu ochlin she'ar yirakot cha-cha-cha she'ar yirakot. Here's your part. Halayla hazeh maror maror halayla hazeh maror maror Shebachol halelot ein anu matbilin afilu pa'am achat halayla hazeh shetef amim halayla hazeh shetef amim. Last question. Shebachol halelot anu ochlin ben yoshvinu vein mesubin Halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin. Choose your wise child. Everybody at the table is going to have a wise child. Choose a wise child. I need the wise child from each table. It may be more than one person at the table. That's okay. I need the wise child to read with me. Page 11. The wise child is curious and asks, what are the specific guidelines and rules about Passover? What is it that we are supposed to learn from this holiday? Everybody answer that wise child. We try to teach this child everything we know. All right, you don't have to point this time. Pick your wicked child. Somebody at the table be the wicked child. Yeah. Jazzy hands. Yeah, that's it. Anybody who wants to be, you could be it. All right, what wicked child reads with me? The wicked child doesn't seem to care about Passover and asks, why are you doing these weird things? What do I care about Passover? Everybody answer the wicked one, please. If someone tries to alienate themselves from what others are doing, it's sometimes difficult to include them. We need to try to find a way to let this child see that it's about all of us. It doesn't usually help to answer, well, with that attitude, you wouldn't have been freed. Yeah, that's what it says in most Haggadahs. That's not what we're saying. All right, jazzy hands for the simple, the innocent child. So we say, the simple or innocent child is full of wonder and asks, what is going on? Why is everything so different? Why is everyone doing these strange things? We try to use the child's imagination by saying, I do this because it reminds me when I left Egypt. Try to imagine when you left Egypt with me. Okay, anyone who's the child who can't ask questions, it's going to be hard for you to read with me, but I don't know. It's the way it works. The child who doesn't know how to ask questions is too young or shy or unable to ask anything. We use all of our senses during the Seder to help the child realize what a wonderful thing it was to celebrate how God freed us from slavery and how awesome it is for us to celebrate together. We find a wonderful way to tell them the story even if they can't understand about it, if they can't even ask about it. So which child are you? What answers would you give to each of these types of children? So the next page is supposed to be the telling of the story. Rabbi Sydney and I were talking about fun ways of doing this, and she said that what she was going to do was see if someone could figure out in 10 words, could you tell the whole Jewish history from Abraham till now in 10 words? Okay, think about it. Meanwhile, we'll read this one. I did it one time with haiku. That was fun. But I don't want to wait until you figure it out. I want to eat already, right? A long time ago, but think about it, get back to me. A long time ago, people prayed to idols. Abraham chose to believe in, how would you say that word? Okay, lots of names. I love that. God entered into a covenant with Abraham and his wife Sarah. God promised them that they would be the beginning of a great people. They had a son named Yitzchak, that was a good name, who married Rivka and followed in the ways of his parents. Their sons were Esav and Yaakov. Yaakov followed in the ways of his parents and grandparents. He married Leah and Rachel and had many children. One of his sons was Yosef. By the way, my name is Yosefa because I can go all the way back to there. Yosef's brothers were jealous of him, so they sold him. That sounds logical, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Well, no. Joseph was taken to Egypt where he had difficult times, but eventually he became something like the viceroy to the Pharaoh in Egypt. He helped to make Egypt a powerful country, especially at a time when there was no food anywhere else. His brothers came to Egypt looking for food and found their long-lost brother Joseph. His father Jacob and all of Jacob's family came to Egypt to live. Seemed like a good idea at the time. They lived happily for many generations. Then a Pharaoh took power who did not remember Joseph and the important things Joseph did for Egypt. The Pharaoh made all of Jacob's family work for him as slaves. That was not a brilliant move either, I'm not going to lie. We worked terribly hard as slaves for more than 400 years. Then God heard our cries for freedom and finally brought us out of the land of Egypt and out of slavery. We have to cover the matzahs. We have to lift up, cover matzahs. You know, we cover the challah on Shabbat. This becomes our challah for tonight, even if it's flat, because we don't like embarrassing the challah that we're going to do other cool things without it. But we lift up the cup of wine. Where's my wine? I got to pour some more. This is the only problem with being at the head table here is that nobody's pouring for me. I got it. Good job. Thank you. You're welcome. Cover the matzah, lift the cup of wine, and say, V'hi she'amda, לאבותינו ולנו, והיא שעמדה לאבותינו ולנו. God kept the promise that was made to Abraham and kept the promise to all Jews. In every generation, there are people who want to destroy us, but God saves us each time. Put your wine down, uncover your matzah. There you go. I know you know this song. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand.
Let my people go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
That's what I'm talking about. Let my people go. If you sneak the microphone up behind somebody, maybe that was awesome. Thank you. All right, we're zooming through a Seder here, everybody. These are the 10 plagues that God sent to Egypt to convince the Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go. As we read each plague, this is what I do in my family. Does anybody have a different tradition? This is what we always do. It's the pinky plague thing. We take our pinky and we stick it in the glass of wine. And for each of the plagues, we dip our finger in and then we put it on the plate. Because wine is the symbol of joy, but joy is diminished when there are plagues, as we have learned these past 2 years. So we realize that although the plagues help to free us from the land of Egypt, joy is diminished. Egyptians suffer too as a result of Pharaoh's evil ways. We're going to say all of these in Hebrew and in English. Let's try. Dam, blood. Tzvardea, frogs. Kinim, lice. Arov, beasts. Dever, cattle disease. Shechin, boils. Barad, hail. Arbe, locusts. Choshech, darkness. Makat bechorot, the death of the firstborn. And then we do something terrible, and we lick off all the plague juice from our fingers. That's the tradition in my family. It may be disgusting, but we do that anyway. Who's got plagues? Did anybody get the plagues from the box? Do you have plagues? Nice. They've got 10 plagues in there. If you were a child, you'd have plague toys. All right. So then we get some songs of Hallel, songs of praise. God's mighty wonders and awesome powers freed us from the land of Egypt and then saved us from the Sea of Reeds and the Pharaoh's armies once again. When we were safely across the sea, we were so overjoyed that we burst into song. I was somewhere this week where it said that first the men sang and then the women sang, and somebody forgot that the men sang. They thought it was just women. First the men sang. They sang a long song. Then the women sang. It went like this. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every thread and every strand she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. What? Only one verse? Oh yes, Rabbi, we want to eat already. What? Why don't you want a long service? This isn't fair. Dayenu, that's why. Page 14, the word die. Do you know what die means in Hebrew? It means enough. Dayenu means it would have been enough for us. We would be grateful for even one of God's miracles. Jazzy hands to that, right? Jazzy hands. Thank you. But there were so many. Is there anything that you have that you could tell me in 4 words that's a dayenu for you? Anybody have a 4-word dayenu that's something you're happy about right now that would have been enough for you? Like, we can eat together. We are not wearing masks. I don't know. We celebrate together. I don't know. God loves us all. Amen. There you go. You got good answers today. You're thinking in fours. I love this. All right, so we're going to do 3 different Dayenu moments from this long list. If we were at a more traditional Seder today, there's a whole page of Dayenus, but I do it 3. Ilu hotzi hanu mi Mitzrayim, hotzi hanu mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu. Everybody. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. If God gave us Shabbat, Ilu natan lanu et ha-Shabbat, natan lanu et ha-Shabbat, Dayenu. Let me hear it. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. If God gave us a Torah, Ilu natan lanu et ha-Torah, natan lanu et ha-Torah, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. I want to hear more Dayenus from you, but we're going to keep moving on. Do you see a Seder plate in front of you? Point to that Seder plate for me. But I want you to notice in here, over the years, communities around the world have been adding their own symbolic foods to the Seder plate to keep modern day struggles in mind, even as they commemorate our ancient ones. Here are some of the most popular new ones out there. For example, I have an orange. It's for inclusion of LGBTQ Jews. It was said that a woman should be a rabbi. This is another reason for the orange on here. A woman should be a rabbi like an orange belongs on a Seder plate. So that gets to come on there. How about chocolate? I wouldn't mind putting chocolate on my Seder table. Demanding fair labor conditions, or cashews with support for the troops. Jazzy hands. Yearning for peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Please God. Standing with the refugee. Support for Ukraine and those trying to find safety. Put sunflowers on. Amen to that. Accepting yourself as who you are and accepting others as who they are, and putting a mirror on there. So think about other things that might go on our Seder plates, either symbolically or figuratively, for us to do it. Understanding the things on the Seder plate helps us take the journey from slavery to freedom each year. I'm going to give you explanations that we've been saying for hundreds of years, but you may have other explanations like we did a moment ago about why some of the things are on our plate. Point to each thing on your Seder plate. This is my favorite. That's my zroa. Zroa is the roasted shank bone, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, you might have a roasted beet. It reminds us of the sacrifice of the Paschal lamb, the Passover lamb, which was part of the commandment that helped God pass over the homes of the children of Israel when we were in Egypt. Maror is the bitter herb. And you may see 2 different kinds of maror on your table. One is the kind that you get ground up in a jar, but the other one are the slivers that are really intense. Sliver ones. It's a bitter herb, which on our table, it's horseradish. But there's also chazeret, which is on there. It reminds us of the bitterness and pain of slavery, like we can taste it. Chazeret, which is these green leafy things. I know it's kind of cheating. It doesn't feel nearly as powerful as our maror, but it's usually something like romaine lettuce, and it's supposed to be a bitter lettuce to remind us of the bitterness of slavery. Haroset, do you see haroset? Anybody love haroset? Jazzy hands? So the ironic part about loving haroset, I don't love having to have the maror, but I have to have it. Smoke comes out of my ears and tears pour out of my eyes and my nose starts to water. I love the Haroset, and Haroset's supposed to be mortar. Why do we love eating mortar so much? I don't know, but I love it. It reminds us of the bricks and the mortar that we made when we were building the cities for Pharaoh in Egypt. Karpas, which we just had some of, is a green vegetable like parsley. It could have been watercress. It reminds us of spring and rebirth. Beitza is a roasted hard-boiled egg. Do you see that? It sounds crazy to roast and hard-boil an egg. It's a symbol of life and renewal. It also reminds us of the offerings our ancestors made long ago when they prayed in the temple in Jerusalem to give thanks for their fertile fields and flocks every springtime. Remember that in the old days in the temple, we would bring offerings, which meant like animal offerings and things. All right, we have this story. It's usually longer, and you usually have to hear the whole story. I'm going to describe the story. In many Haggadot, we read a story about 5 rabbis who were, and if you got this one and you had to read this one in the Seder, you're like, oh no, I can't say these names. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yehoshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Tarfon. They had a Seder that lasted until the morning. Hours and hours and hours until the morning. Remember those days? Not here. Their students had to tell them it was time for morning prayers already. These 5 Talmudic sages aren't just random wise men. They're the wisest rabbis in the period directly following the destruction of the temple in the year 70 of the Common Era. This nighttime meeting we read about then wasn't just a leisurely Seder or about rabbis who are so religious that they don't know when to end their Seder. It might well have been a discussion on how to continue and sustain Judaism now that its beating heart, the temple in Jerusalem, was no more. If nothing else, we should learn that from these men, even in the shadow of a great tragedy, faith and friendship always find the way to move forward. And I'm not going to lie, there are often times during this pandemic when we had to reimagine what worship would be that I think about these rabbis and what they had to do. And it says, if you were to reinvent Judaism today, what would you change? We have had to see people online more than we did before. Lift your wine cup. In every generation, each of us must see ourselves as if we ourselves came out of Egypt, as it is written, and you shall tell your child on that day, saying, this is what God did for me. Say that for me, please. This is what God did for me when I came out of Egypt. The Holy One, who's praised, did not redeem only our ancestors, but delivered us as well. As it is said, read this for me, please. God redeemed us from that place in order to bring us out and to give us the land that God had promised to our ancestors. We drink the second cup of wine to recall God's promise of liberation. God said, I will deliver you, I will liberate you from their bondage. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pari hagafen, praise are you, Adonai, our God, ruler over the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine, l'chaim. Are you counting? 2 down, 2 to go. And you know what it says at the bottom of page 16? We're going to wash our hands again to remind us how important it is to make a fresh start. But this time we're going to say the blessing. Get ready to pass those sanitizers around again. I got my washing hand bowl here. This time the blessing is Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, vitzivanu al netilat yadayim. You can use your hand sanitizer. Praised are you, our eternal God, who made us holy with your commandments and commanded us about washing hands way before there were plagues. So now we pass out pieces of matzah from the top and the middle matzah, but we wait for both of the next blessings before we can eat the matzah. We're going to need these matzahs for not just eating a blessing of matzah, but also we're going to make some sandwiches on the next page. So don't eat all of the matzah you get in your hand all in one place. Wait for the second page. Everybody have a piece? Okay, does everybody have some matzah from one of those places? The middle or from the top and the middle? And we're going to say, this is going to surprise you. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for crunchy flatbread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We're thanking God for bringing bread from the earth, but then we have to say, praised are you, our eternal God, who made us holy with your commandments and commanded us about eating matzah. We are obligated to eat the matzah. We say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Take a bite of matzah. Crunch, crunch. Just like how I remembered it to taste. Now, with my mouth full, put some maror on your matzah. Now, you could be the chazeret, it could be the green one, but it really should be the one that makes smoke come out of your ears. Put some maror, wait for the blessing. Put some maror on. This is where we dip again. See me dipping? Oh my gosh, I can smell it already. My eyes are starting to water already. Everybody has to try some. At the top of page 18, we say, we ready? Almost ready? We dipped? Dip, 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 dip. Get maror. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror. Praise are you, our eternal God. You made us holy by giving us commandments. You commanded us that we have to eat some maror. Chow down, everybody. Ah! It hurts. Then we get to do a Hillel sandwich. Rabbi Hillel was a smart guy. He invented sandwiches. You can take some maror, you can take some Haroset and put it on your matzah. And then it says, because you're supposed to remember the commandment that says, they shall eat it with matzah and maror. And then once you do that, we can begin our meal. Thank you. Now, at some point, I'm going to let you know that you can start looking for the afikomim. And if you need some distraction toys or books, let me know. I have distraction toys and books if you finish your meal faster than anybody else. Our meal. We're ready for our meal. Anybody ready for your meal? Die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, enu, die, enu, die, enu, die. I just want to make sure that song stays in your head. Let my people go. All right, whatever's on the table that you want to eat. The thing that looks like sausage, by the way, is gefilte fish. The thing that looks all wavy and fancy is chopped liver. Hold on. It is time for our meal. If you're watching online, I hope you have food to eat. We are going to take a break for a little bit, and we're going to eat our meal, and then we'll join you again in, I don't know, how long does it take you to eat your meal? When the meal is complete, we're supposed to say a blessing. So while the kids are looking for afikomen, you may want to speak from your heart, maybe in 4-word sentences, and think about if you could bless the person sitting next to you. And then we only have a few pages left after the meal is done. Enjoy. And I want to thank everybody again who worked so hard to make this meal and Seder a possibility after years without Seders together in person. Thank you to Jerry Black. Very, very thanks to Jerry. Thanks to Kathy Plant. Very, very thanks to Kathy. Yep. Thanks to our team, our crew who gave up their Friday night, their Good Friday to be with us. Thank you to everybody who's here. Thank you for that. Thank you everybody who gave it. Thank you to Pat at Albertsons who always makes sure we have as much food as we need. Thank you. Thank you to Karen, who's working the kitchen, make sure that all this can happen. Thank you to Rabbi for not making a very long Seder. Has everybody finished their dessert? The kids finished the afikomen. So we have almost nothing left we have to do still. We have to go to page 19. Who's counting? How many wines did we have so far? We had 2. How many were we supposed to have? 4, 7, 12, 14, 93,000. Who's counting? All right, so we keep talking about how long a normal Seder lasts and why. And it lasts a really, really long time. But the kids have finished finding the afikomen and they got their prizes. And so normally we have to say, did you know that there is no commandment? It's all right, here's a new number. How many mitzvot, how many commandments are there? 613 commandments. Out of the 613 commandments, there is no commandment that says you have to bless your food before you eat it. But of course we're going to bless our food before we eat it. But there is a commandment that says you have to bless your food after you eat it. And it's usually very many paragraphs long. So we say a really quickie before you eat because you're hungry. And usually after your meal, you're sitting and it's leisurely and you say this really long one. How many people went to summer camp? Let me see some jazzy hands. Some Jewish camp. So you know how long Birkat Hamazon is. It's long, but we're doing a really teeny one. And it goes like this. Page 19, where it says blessing after the meal. When we say blessings, I love this idea. We are developing the art of appreciation and gratitude, thereby deepening our relationship with God. Did you take advantage of what it said at the bottom on page 18? Did everybody look around the table and have each person speak from the heart and bless the person sitting next to them? That's especially good on Shabbat. Did you bless the person sitting next to you? In 4 words? Just kidding. That's important. That was supposed to happen during the meal. So after the afikomen, which the kids found, it is customary to not eat anything else. So I see some of you are really good and you have a clean table. So we're on page 19 and we're going to do a very, very, very short version of Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after the meal that I wrote for Camp Chai. It goes like this. All living things need food. Repeat that after me, please. All living things need food. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Source of food for all. Source of food for all. And we're going to do the same melody for the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai hazan et hakol. So did you pour your 3rd cup? Pour your 3rd cup. I heard that. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is the 3rd reason that we have for drinking wine. You could have grape juice, by the way. In the carafe, it's grape juice for anybody who thinks they've had enough. Right, officers? Just checking. All right. We raise the 3rd cup of wine and we say the blessing again before drinking. But first we say, we drink the 3rd cup of wine, you see where we are? To recall God's promise of freedom. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. We say the same thing. Praise are you, our eternal God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine, l'chaim. I can tell you that after 2 cups of wine and a delicious meal, everybody who started off with just Jewish, you're all now officially Jewish. I heard all the chucking. I heard all kinds of cool stuff. That was very good. All right, we drank the 3rd cup. Now we're on to page 20. Do you see this beautiful cup of wine? It's placed in the center of our table, waiting for an honored guest, Eliyahu, Elijah the prophet. Long ago, Elijah protected the Jews from an evil king and queen. He healed the sick. He helped the weak. When his days on earth were over, Legend said that Elijah rode up into the sky on a chariot of fire. Somebody knows someone else who went up in a chariot, but we're not going to ask that trivia today, but you may want to tell me afterwards. Legends also tell us that this mysterious man returns to earth to help the helpless, to answer the unanswerable, and to remind us that someday when the Messiah comes, all people will be free. All over the world, in every Jewish home, children open the door on Passover to invite Elijah to enter. Perhaps tonight he will honor us and enter our home. Our hope makes a bridge between heaven and earth. So I need any kid who's not too drunk to come help me. Open the door for us so that Elijah could come. Do we have any kids who are not too drunk to come help? Uh-oh. There's a whole table of kids who are too drunk to come and help me. Come on, help me. Max, can you see us over here? Come here. Come here, Henry. Ready? Come here, help me open the door. Come here, help me open the door. Ready? We're going to open this door. Which one? This one? And we're going to say, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet, and he will turn the hearts of the parents to the children, and the hearts of the children to..." Come here, come here, come here. Stay here, stay here, stay here. Come in. Yes, thank you. Hearts of the children. It's nighttime. How did that happen? And the hearts of the children to the parents before the coming of... You're right, it's dark outside and it's nighttime. And the great and awesome day of the eternal. We're going to sing this song. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'yamenu, Yavu Elenu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David. Thanks, guys. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Let's go inside. It says, did you know this? It said that in each generation, Elijah, Eliyahu, the prophet, returns, but he's disguised as a poor stranger. He knows by the way people treat him whether the world is ready for the Mashiach. Do you think we're ready? Are people being nice to each other?
We are.
We are. That's what. This table is so ready. Yeah. This table is so very ready. We turn the page because there's another tradition we have. Not only do we have a lovely cup for Elijah, but we have this beautiful cup. There's a tradition, I don't know if you knew this. Miriam, do you remember who Miriam was? Moses' big sister or little sister? Big sister. How do we remember that? Because she's the one who followed him along the river and made sure that she got adopted by the, so Passover, Moses is a story about adoption. I don't know if any of you have adopted people in your family, but you can think about that. Who was it? I had one young guy who was this big at the time, and he's this big now, and he came to me one day and he said, Moses didn't even know he was Jewish. I mean, Moses was almost like 40 years old before he found out he was Jewish. And he became one of the greatest leaders of the Jewish people ever. And he didn't even know until he was 40. So just saying. So it says there's a tradition that Miriam the prophetess helped to sustain the spirits of the children of Israel in Egypt. Remember the singing and the tambourine? And during the long journey through the desert to the promised land. Miriam's well followed the children of Israel through the wilderness and provided water for drinking. Let's remember her at our Seder. We have a glass of water here to symbolize Miriam's sustaining waters. So I want you to think about, it's not just, by the way, I mentioned this guy who we didn't get to hear about. Where did we hear about his name? Whose name did we not say very often in our Seder? But he was a really important guy. Moses. We don't say his, he wasn't here. It was just that I mentioned him. I shouldn't have done that. What, a fourth cup of wine? Pour another cup of wine, everybody. Did you run out of wine? Grape juice, Italian juice, Shreveport juice. That joke, Gets better the more wine you've had. So this one is about our destiny. It says, we drink the fourth cup of wine as we conclude our Seder with hope and with joy. We know we are partners with God to bring freedom to all who are captive and bring peace to our world. Does it make you want to cry? It is our responsibility to partner with God to bring freedom in this world. It is our responsibility. So we raise the fourth cup of wine and say the blessing. Praised are you, our eternal God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Last night, and I didn't write it down, and I should have, and maybe one day you can help me write this song, but I had this great song in my head that was like, and now the end is near, and I will say the final bracha. My friends, I'll say, I don't know, it was really good, and I see like this whole thing, and I wish I had sung it. So one of these days, we gotta make this happen one day. But if I sing it, then we won't be finished yet. This Seder is complete and has been prepared according to the guidelines of our traditions. We hope that even if it wasn't perfect, which I thought it was pretty perfect, I don't know about you, the insights that we've gained inspire us to continue to pursue freedom, enhance our connection to our people, traditions, and faith. Did anybody come up with a forward thing that you thought, 4 words, forward thinking, 4 words that you think is important for us for this year? What is it that we're working on for our freedom this year? What's it reminding us of? Drive home safely, please. No, something like that. Yeah, peace. Yeah, peace for the world. That's a good one. Every table, we got one? The wine bottle, empty. The wine bottle, yeah, that's 5. Our bottle is empty. Time to go, right? That's what. All right, so we say, Lishana Haba'ah B'Yerushalayim. Next year, we hope to be in Jerusalem. But we're going to sing a couple of fun songs on the last page. All I gave you here is the very last verse. One of the cool things about this song is that they are often sung in the language wherever you are. It exists in Hebrew or in Yiddish or in whatever, but we're going to sing this. This is a fun one. I need some kids to help me act this out, or grown-ups to help act this out. It goes like this. Chad Gad Ya, which means an only kid. And it doesn't mean this kind of a kid, it means a little goat. Then came the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. I want to know why these songs sound like drinking songs now at the end of our thing. And I want to know why they're all like memory things, because the officers are watching. If you can't remember all of the words to the verses, then you don't get to drive home by yourself. We will call an Uber. Then came the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the water that doused the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the ox that drank the water that doused the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid my father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad. We don't want to go much farther than that, okay? Just because it gets kind of gruesome. We already had to do blood. So let's do this next one. We're going to do like a couple verses. All right, it gets boring after that. Let's do this one. And you know what? We do this with the kids at school, and they come up with things that are not the answers that we give here. So in Hebrew, I'm going to do the first verse. Echad mi yodea. And you're supposed to say, hey, Max, I need you to have a microphone for this one. Max, this is Max's song, man. This is Max's group. Ready? Don't hold it too close. Ready? Echad mi yodea.
Echad ani yodea. Echad Eloheinu, 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 Shebashamayim uva'aretz.
See? So we'll do this one in English too. Who knows one?
I know one.
One is God in heaven and on earth. All right, so if you had to come up with something that was two, something connected to Judaism, what can you think? What? Tablets. Who knows two?
I know two.
Two are the tablets of the covenant. One is God in heaven and on earth. All right, don't cheat. Come up with something that's three. We already did three, though, didn't we? Who knows three? I know three. Three is the number of the patriarchs. Two are the tablets of the covenant. One is God in heaven and on earth. All right, what else do we have for four? I can think of some things for four that's not the matriarchs.
Cups of wine.
What? 4 cups of wine. Who knows four? I know four. 4 cups of wine we drank. I don't know. How do I say? 3 is the number of the patriarchs. 2 is the two tablets of the covenant. 1 is God in heaven and on earth. How about 5? What can you do that's 5? Torah, books in the Torah. You got this. You've been doing this too long. It's the same one we did last year. Who knows 5? I know 5. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 cups of wine we drank. 3 is the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tablets of the covenant. 1 is God in heaven and on earth. All right, who knows 6? If you say Mishnah, the orders of the Mishnah, I'm going to cry. I don't believe too many people remember that after 4 cups of wine. What can you think of that's 6? 6 points on the Star of David. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4
is the number of the cups we drank.
3 is the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tablets of the covenant. 1 is God in heaven and on earth. Can you do a 7? Go ahead, say it. 2 days a week. That's okay. You can say it. Who knows 7?
I know 7.
7 days there are in a week. 6 points on the Star of David. 5 books there are in the Torah. 4 cups we drank at the Seder. 3 is the number of the patriarchs. 2 are the tablets of the covenant. 1 is God in heaven and on earth. I'm not going to do 8 because I don't want to go there.
Okay.
We did that, and if you finished, you know that you got through every single part of the Haggadah. We have done what we were supposed to do in record time-ish. With delicious food. Let's do jazzy hands for the food. Woo! I hope that if you were online, your food was even a little bit as good as what we had. I hope you met somebody you didn't know before. I hope that you had fun for Shabbat. And this is what we're going to do, what we do at the end of every Shabbat. Would you do me a favor, please? I want you to help point to each other. Point to each other. Help me bless each other. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Because you had 4 cups of wine. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. That's not jazzy hands. That's jazzy hands. This is sparkly hands. God's face shining on you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to each of you, because as we like to say, God has something that God looks up to you about. And may God grant you peace. Delicious matzo balls. You're not going to have gefilte fish as good as what you had tonight, because that was like awesome. That was awesome. Yay, Kathy. Jazzy hands for that. You're not going to have, thanks to Jerry. That was clapping for you for your gefilte fish. Thanks to Jerry for making this happen. Thanks to Karen for all of her help, and Pat for the food. Everybody who came, thank you, everybody. We love you very much. Drive home very safely. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock for services in the sanctuary. Oh, yeah, right. And then next Friday morning at 11, the office is closed because it's the last day of Passover, but we have Yizkor Memorial Service on Friday. And then regular Friday night services next week, but we have a guest all weekend, ISJL. Read your bulletin. It's in there. Your emails. Love you. Good Yontif.